The sun burned mercilessly over the endless expanse of the Atacama Desert, a place so dry and barren that it seemed almost eternal. Yet beneath its cracked, sun-scorched surface, secrets slept. Secrets older than the oldest maps, hidden from explorers, treasure hunters, and historians alike. Elena Richter, a European anthropologist from Germany, had come to Chile chasing whispers of a village that had vanished centuries ago. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, La Aldea Perdida, the lost village. No trace of it existed on any map, not in official archives. Not even in the oral histories recorded by anthropologists before her. Yet the stories persisted. They said that hundreds of years ago, the village thrived in the middle of the desert, sustained by an underground aquifer, invisible to the outside world. Its people were industrious, their lives intertwined with the mysterious desert. Then one day it disappeared. The next morning, travelers reported nothing but a stretch of empty desert, as if the village had been swallowed by the earth itself. Elena felt a chill as the wind brushed her face. The desert, though silent, seemed alive. She adjusted her hat, tightening the straps. The locals had warned her, "If you go searching for the village, the desert may claim you too." She was not one to believe in curses or superstition. Science was her ally, history her weapon. Yet, as she surveyed the endless dunes, she felt a strange unease, a sense that the desert itself was watching her. Chapter 2, Clues Buried in Dust. Her first discovery came in the form of an old journal, found in the dusty archives of a small library in Santiago. The pages were yellowed, the handwriting trembling but urgent. It belonged to an explorer named Miguel Salazar, who claimed to have visited the village in the early 1700s. "I have seen wonders no man should see," he wrote. "A village hidden beneath the sands, sustained by springs that vanish at will. The people are kind, but they live in fear of something that watches them. I leave now, for I fear I am cursed to disappear like them." Elena's pulse quickened. Here was the first tangible evidence of the village, someone who had actually seen it. But the cryptic warning at the end of the entry made her pause. What had the villagers feared? What had caused their disappearance? She followed Salazar's vague directions, trekking for days under the relentless sun, her GPS struggling to keep a signal in the remote desert. Each night, the desert whispered secrets, shadows moving unnaturally, faint lights flickering over distant dunes, and a sound like distant singing carried on the wind. Chapter 3, The Desert Reveals. On the seventh day, Elena found something astonishing. A faint outline of stone foundations, partially buried under centuries of sand. Her heart raced as she realized she was standing at the edge of what had once been La Aldea Perdida. The desert seemed to hold its breath. The air was heavy, and the faint odor of earth and something metallic, like iron, lingered. As she stepped closer, she noticed carvings on the stones, strange symbols that resembled a mixture of pre-Columbian and European motifs. She ran her fingers over them, feeling an electric tingle that made her pull back. Suddenly, the ground beneath her trembled, not violently, but enough to make her heart skip a beat. The desert had been waiting for someone to find this place, and now that someone was her. Perfect. Let's continue The Vanishing Village. Secrets Buried Under the Desert with Chapters 410, expanding the suspense, mystery, and supernatural intrigue to fully immerse the reader. This will build momentum toward the deeper secrets of La Aldea Perdida. Shadows of the past. Elena couldn't sleep that night. The desert outside her small tent seemed alive, breathing with an unseen rhythm. Shadows danced on the sand, stretching unnaturally under the moonlight. For a moment she thought she saw figures, people moving, but when she blinked there was nothing. The carvings she had touched earlier haunted her. Strange symbols that seemed like a combination of Inca glyphs and European sigils. Some resembled stars, others looked like eyes staring back at her. She sketched them in her notebook, feeling a strange connection, as if they were trying to communicate. At dawn, she decided to explore deeper into the ruins. The stone foundations led her to what appeared to be a plaza. At its center, a shallow depression was carved into the ground, like an altar. It was empty, but the sand around it was disturbed, as though someone or something had been there recently. And then she heard it, a soft whisper carried by the wind. Not in Spanish, not in German, not in English, something older, alien yet familiar. Elena froze. "Leave now," the voice seemed to come from the desert itself. The first clue despite the warning, Alina pressed on. She had traveled too far to turn back. She discovered a series of tunnels partially buried under the sand. Their entrances were marked with the same symbols she had seen on the stones. Torch in hand, she descended carefully. The air grew colder, denser, smelling of earth, metal, and something she couldn't name. Strange murals covered the walls, villagers performing rituals, placing golden artifacts into a central stone basin. And always in the murals, the same eyes stared, watching, judging. At the end of the main tunnel, she found an object that made her heart pound. A small gold medallion etched with the village symbols. Holding it, she felt a surge of energy, a mixture of awe and terror. The desert's whisper returned, louder this time, more urgent. Do not awaken what sleeps beneath. Signs of the curse. The next day, Alina noticed strange occurrences. Her compass spun wildly. Her GPS showed impossible coordinates. Even her camera refused to work, the screen flickering with images she hadn't captured. Fleeting faces of villagers, eyes hollow, mouths open in silent screams. A local guide she had hired, Matteo, refused to go deeper. This desert, it keeps its secrets. Those who disturb them, they vanish. He told her stories of explorers who had disappeared without a trace, of gold that cursed those who touched it. But Alina couldn't resist. The allure of discovery, of being the first to uncover La Aldia Perdita, outweighed fear. Nightmares in the sand that night, Alina dreamt vividly. She walked through the village untouched by time. Villagers smiled at her, beckoning her toward a central plaza. There, a blinding golden light erupted from the earth. She tried to step closer, but the ground turned to black liquid, pulling her down. She woke with a start, heart pounding. On her palm lay the medallion. How had it moved? The desert wind carried whispers. They are watching always. Alina realized the curse was not just a story. The desert was alive, and it remembered. Secrets of the elders exploring further, Alina found a hidden chamber beneath the main plaza. Its walls were lined with inscriptions, telling the village's history in cryptic symbols. She deciphered part of it. Centuries ago, villagers discovered a powerful energy source beneath the desert. It could give immense wealth, longevity, even control over nature itself, but it demanded guardianship. Those who took without respect vanished. The medallion, she realized, was a key, both to unlock the treasures and awaken the curse. The desert's test suddenly, the tunnels trembled. Sand poured from the ceilings, filling passages. The desert tested her. Shadows formed into figures, villagers, explorers, faces distorted with fear and anger. One reached out to her, whispering, "You will join us if you take what is not yours." Alina knew she faced a choice: turn back and preserve the village's secret, or risk everything to reveal it to the world. The desert, alive and unforgiving, had made its warning clear. Revelation at the heart of the tunnels, she found it. A chamber filled with gold, artifacts, and knowledge preserved for centuries. The energy of the desert pulsed around her. She understood now, the village had not vanished to hide from humans. It had vanished to protect the world from greed, from ambition that could destroy it. Alina stepped back, realizing some mysteries were not meant to be unearthed. She left the medallion in the chamber, covering it with sand, and emerged into the desert. The sun rose over the dunes, golden and harsh, as if the desert itself approved her choice.
The Phantom Caravan. The next morning, Alina thought she was alone, but faint footprints in the sand told her otherwise. They were too large to be human, and they disappeared into the dunes as suddenly as they appeared. As she followed them cautiously, she glimpsed shadows on the horizon, a caravan of figures moving silently, yet perfectly aligned with the wind. They wore tattered cloaks, faces hidden. Whenever Alina tried to approach, they vanished, leaving only the faint scent of desert sage and burnt wood. She realized the village's guardians were not dead. They existed somewhere between life and death, tasked with ensuring the secret remained buried. Messages in the stones. Alina returned to the ruins and focused on the symbols carved into the stones. After hours of careful study, she noticed a pattern. The symbols were not random, they were messages. One sequence depicted explorers arriving with maps, only to be swallowed by the desert. Another showed villagers offering gold to the earth, the act causing a golden glow to rise and vanish. The final set depicted a solitary figure leaving empty-handed, safe. It became clear, survival required respect, humility, and restraint. Greed would awaken the curse. The stranger in the desert. As the sun dipped behind the dunes, a figure appeared on the horizon. A European man, rugged and sunburned, with a weathered journal tucked under his arm. He introduced himself as Professor Victor Kraus, an Austrian historian who had studied the village for years. Unlike Alina, he had no respect for the warnings. He was determined to uncover the treasure. Yet as he spoke, Alina noticed something unsettling. His shadow did not align with the setting sun. It moved independently, curling toward the dunes like a dark, living thing. Night of Whispers. That night the desert seemed alive. Alina and Victor camped near the ruins, but sleep was impossible. Whispers swirled around them, speaking in ancient tongues. Victor laughed nervously, insisting it was the wind, but Alina knew better. Shadows moved across the dunes, gathering like a storm. Every so often, she glimpsed faint images of villagers performing rituals, offering gold, kneeling, their faces frozen in silent screams. Victor, impatient and greedy, ignored the warnings. That was the first mistake. The first disappearance. At dawn, Victor was gone. His tent lay in disarray, the journal pages scattered. Footprints led into the dunes but disappeared halfway, as if swallowed by the earth. Alina felt a chill. The desert had claimed him. The whispers, now louder, almost seemed to mock her. Greed awakens the curse, respect preserves life. Alina realized survival meant more than knowledge. It meant understanding the desert's will. Echoes of the village. Exploring further, Alina found a hidden cavern beneath the ruins, illuminated by shafts of sunlight that pierced cracks in the rock. Within, she discovered preserved artifacts, clay pots, tools, and skeletal remains, perfectly arranged as if the villagers had planned to leave temporarily, but never returned. She also discovered paintings of foreign explorers who had visited and vanished. Their faces, distorted by fear, told a single story. No one who came for gold alone survived. The hidden spring. Deeper into the cavern, Alina found a spring of crystal-clear water. Its presence explained how the village had survived in such an arid desert. But it was more than water. It seemed to pulse with energy. Touching it, Alina felt visions. The village alive, the villagers performing ceremonies to appease something beneath the sand. She understood now. The desert itself was sentient. It rewarded respect and punished greed. The desert speaks. Alina spent days in the ruins, listening and observing. The desert seemed to communicate through patterns in the sand, the direction of the wind, even the shadows cast by rocks. She realized the whispers were not warnings. They were instructions, guiding those worthy to the truth while deceiving the greedy. Every day, her understanding deepened. Every step became a careful negotiation with the desert's will. The guardian's choice. One evening, as the sun set in brilliant orange, Alina faced a spectral figure, the leader of the village guardians. Its eyes were hollow, yet filled with centuries of wisdom. "You seek knowledge," it said in a voice carried by the wind. "You are not greedy, but temptation lies ahead. The treasure calls. Will you take it or leave it for the world to forget?" Alina trembled, realizing the moment of truth had come. The sacrifice. Alina returned the medallion to its original place, covering it carefully with sand. The shadows in the desert shifted, and the whispers faded into silence. She understood that the treasure was not gold, not wealth, but knowledge, power, and a secret too dangerous for the world. The map of shadows. As Alina trekked back toward civilization, she discovered something unexpected. A faded map carved into a rock near the edge of the desert. The map depicted routes, tunnels, and symbols, some matching the carvings in the village, others entirely new. She realized that La Aldea Perdita was only one part of a larger network, connected to other hidden settlements and treasures across South America. The Guardians weren't just protecting one village, they were protecting an entire legacy. The European connection. Back in Santiago, Alina researched old European explorers and found astonishing parallels. Several German, Austrian, and Portuguese adventurers had vanished in the same desert. Journals mentioned medallions, underground chambers, and a sentient desert. Some explorers had documented encounters with shadow figures and whispered warnings. Others had simply disappeared without a trace. Alina began to piece together a chilling conclusion. The village's legend had reached Europe centuries ago, inspiring secret societies and treasure hunters, all of whom had failed. The return of shadows. One evening, while camping near the edge of the desert, Alina noticed shadows moving unnaturally across the dunes. They seemed almost alive, shifting in shapes and sizes. The desert's guardians were watching her again, but this time it felt different. Their purpose wasn't just protection. They were testing her, measuring her understanding, her restraint, her respect for the power she had glimpsed. Echoes of the past. Alina had a vision that night. She saw the village alive, children playing, elders teaching rituals, explorers arriving and disappearing. She realized that the desert preserved history in a way no archive could. Every whisper, every shadow, every shimmer in the sand was a memory of those who had come and gone. She understood. The desert didn't just hide the village, it held its stories, its legacy, and its warnings. The Guardian appears. A spectral figure appeared before her, more defined than before. Its eyes seemed to pierce through time. "You have seen much," it said, "but the final test remains. The desert offers power, knowledge, and wealth. Will you seek it, or will you honor what we protect?" Alina felt a weight on her shoulders. She knew the choice she made now would define her fate. The temptation. Alina dreamt of gold and treasures beyond imagination. She saw the medallion glowing, the underground chamber shining, ancient artifacts radiating power. The desert whispered promises of wealth, fame, and influence. Yet she also felt the presence of those who had succumbed before her, the vanished explorers, the greedy adventurers. Their eyes, pleading and angry, warned her of the price of ambition. A letter from the past. Exploring a small cache in the ruins, Alina discovered a sealed letter from a European explorer named Johann Weber, who had visited the village in 1742. The letter described how he had found the treasure but returned empty-handed, choosing respect over greed. He wrote, "The desert tests all who enter. Only humility preserves life. Take more than you are given, and the desert will take you, as it took us all before." Alina felt a kinship with him, realizing she was following the same path centuries later. The final warning. That night the desert roared. Winds tore across the dunes and sand swirled in blinding storms. Whispers became voices, pleading, angry, fearful. The Guardians appeared, multiple figures now, their hollow eyes shining with centuries of knowledge. Alina understood. They were not malevolent. They were protectors, ensuring that the balance between humans and the desert's secret remained intact. The choice. Alina returned to the Chamber of Gold one last time. She held the medallion in her hand, feeling its weight, its power. The desert whispered, "Choose wisely." She placed the medallion back in its original setting, covering it with sand. The chamber seemed to sigh in relief. The gold shimmered faintly before disappearing from sight. Alina knew she had made the right choice. The desert would continue to guard its secrets. The village and its legacy would remain hidden. Legacy of the desert. Alina emerged from the dunes at sunrise, the first light painting the desert in golden hues. She carried nothing but her journal, her sketches, and the knowledge of what she had seen. Back in Europe, she would tell her story, not of treasure, but of the desert, the guardians, and the village that time could not erase. La Aldea Perdita remained alive. a mystery buried in the sands, waiting for those worthy enough to learn its secrets.